Hi everybody, welcome to another makeover. These two matching side tables or nightstands we've been having for a while and I kinda like them, but they didn't go with the interior of our place, so they ended up in my furniture stash and I've been tripping over them all the time. Every time I started a new project, they were in my way. And one day I watched a video about furniture flipping challenge when people do quick flips for profit. So I decided to do a quick flip without sanding. I just applied a dark stain and then I applied a dark wax. And they didn't turn out the same way. One of them were darker, which I kind of liked, and the other one was lighter. And of course, I regret what I did, so here they are ready for another makeover. And because they were finished with some wax, my first step here was to clean it with some TSP degreaser. I followed the instruction on the bottle and it says for heavy wax surfaces, I gotta apply it and let it sit for about 20 minutes. That's what I did. And after 20 minutes, I came back and I washed them with the warm water. If you use DSP cleaner and then you want to paint the furniture, you have to make sure that you clean the TSP residue. Otherwise, you can have a problem with your paint adhesion. Once the table is completely dried, I started sanding the tops with 120 grit sandpaper. And those white tracks you see, it's not the residue of TSP, that the TSP went through the wax. And after sanding, I found out that it kind of stained the wood. I used an oxalic acid to get rid of those stains and I forgot to film it. I forgot to press the record button. Here you see me rinsing the top after oxalic acid has dried. As usual, I dissolved an oxalic acid with the hot water in 1:10 ratio and I applied it and I let it dry. And it helped. That's how the top looks after one application of the oxalic acid. And again, once everything dried, I sanded it with 180 grit sandpaper. And if you were wondering how I sanded those carved edges, the answer is lots of hand sanding, which I didn't catch on camera again. And those groups you see on the top, this is actually where the pieces of wood were glued together. They were glued together to create this kind of design. They were filled up with the wood filler at the first place, but here and there the wood filler was gone and I had to replace it. While the wood filler was drying, I scuff sanded the rest of the piece because I was gonna paint it. Yes, I decided to paint the rest. I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought about restoring these pieces, but I would have to spend hours of sanding, and mostly hand sanding. And knowing the market in my area, I wouldn't be able to sell them for the good price. I don't mind painting furniture and the farmhouse style / boho style is very popular in the area, so I decided to stick with that. Once the wood filler dried, I sanded the whole top again, but this time with 220 grit sandpaper. I wiped off all sanding dust and before the painting, I applied one coat of heavy duty Kills primer because I was gonna use light beige paint and I didn't want any bleed through situation here. After my primer dried, I smoothed it out with 320 grit. And then I applied 3 coats of Fusion Mineral Paint in the color Limestone. And usually I do a brush and the roller combination, but here I wanted it to look like it's been hand painted. I wanted to see a little bit of brush strokes. And those grooves I repaired before, I painted them with the same color. And once the paint dried, I sanded the top again with 220. For the top, instead of doing a whitewash, I decided to apply my white wax. This is a white wax from Marshall's and I already tried it on the other project and I kind of like the result. I worked in section, I applied it with a sponge, then wiped off an excess, and then I let the top dry for 24 hours. Even if the Fusion Mineral Paint has a built-in top coat and my white wax it is already a top coat, I like to apply one coat of the B wax for an additional protection. I usually let it sit for about 20 to 30 minutes and then I buff off an excess with a microfiber cloth. I used an original hardware that piece had, but I sprayed it with rose tone gold paint. And here's a tip, don't forget to press the record button on your camera if you're filming anything. Because if you don't, you're not gonna film it, like I didn't film me spraying those handles. But anyways, they've been sprayed and we're almost ready to see the final result. And if you made that far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumb up. You can always take it back if you don't like the final result. Let me remind you how those tables looked before, and here's the after. And honestly, my plan was to do a glazing over this white paint, but I sent the picture to my husband and to my friend and they said they like them the way they are. So I decided to list them like that, and if they don't sell, I always can do the glazing. In my opinion, they look a little bit boring, but what do you think? Should I glaze them or just leave them alone? Let me know in the comments. And remember, if you hate them, just be nice, please. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.